ever negotiated with the Japanese before?
Well, this is hardly a negotiation.
What is it?
It's a homicide.
That's the movie I watched before I went to Japan for the first time.
Do keep your hands at your sides. The Japanese find big arm movements threatening.
Japanese companies were buying property in the United States. Labor unions in the United States were having parties where they'd bring a Toyota out into the parking lot and take turns smashing it up with sledgehammers. It was a very different period of time.
Do you speak English? I'm just curious.
We all speak English. Continue, please.
The fear in the United States was clearly that the model that the Japanese had developed was likely to be a successful model that would bring them to not world power, but certainly increase their influence and at some point probably surpass that of the United States.
Oh, yeah! Yes! Let me tell you something. If you're so great, how come you lost the big one? Yeah!
Now when I look back at those times and I look back at some of the movies that were produced during that period of time, many of which had Japanese evil characters, I have to laugh because that has changed so quickly. And I think the lesson that I've taken away from that is there is always going to be the next thing. There's always going to be a country that for a certain period of time is expected to eclipse all others because they have somehow found a magic formula for economic growth, for political stability or political control. But the pace of change historically, I think, is speeding up. So where the US might have been on top for 100 years, the British for 300. Japan had its place in the sun, to use a cliche, for let's say 40 years. Now we're in a position where we're talking about China as the next big thing, or as India, or as Brazil being the next country that will be much like what we thought Japan was going to be back in the 80s. We shouldn't be concerned about the rise of countries that have different economic models that are, at least for a while, showing that they can be much more competitive in many areas than we are. We always need to be retooling. I think one of our biggest strengths is our ability to draw on people from all over the world.
It's true! Everybody in this country thinks they are special.